Seeing the message Emily sent me, I felt a twitch in my brow. However, I waited until I had finished all my work at the company before heading home to ask her in detail. As soon as I got home, Emily ran over.
Sis, did you receive the bag I sent you? You said you liked it a few days ago, so I bought it for you right away. I had to ask several stores before I found it. The quality is really good, and the clerk gave me a discount because I was sincere. Just transfer me 500,000 yuan.
You said this bag costs 500,000 yuan?
Her eyes darted around.
Yes. Sis. If you don't believe me, I can show you the receipt.
She walked into the room and brought out a legitimate receipt. I glanced at the receipt and handed the bag back to her.
Since it's from a place that can issue receipts, I'm relieved. You can return it, I don't like it.
Emily became anxious upon hearing this.
Sis. Your taste is off. This bag is so beautiful, how can you not like it? I specially picked it for you, how can you let me down?
She seemed extremely aggrieved.
You said you wanted a Hermes bag. I worked so hard to pick this for you, and this is the result.
I laughed in anger.
Emily, don't forget your place. I can ask you to move out anytime.
I shoved the bag into her arms and walked straight upstairs. In the reflection of the marble mirror, I saw Emily's resentful gaze. Emily moved into my house a month ago. She was a student my mom had been sponsoring since middle school. She is 4 years younger than me. When we first sponsored her, my mom and I met her. She had dark skin and looked at us with timid eyes. At that time, I even gave her one of my unused phones and helped her register a WeChat account to make it easier to send her money and chat. Who knew that after she started high school, she suddenly became harsh towards me?
I'm going to learn to dance.
Huh? But, sis, can someone of your height really dance? It would look ridiculous.
I looked at my 172 centimeters height. She is 158 centimeters. Every time height was mentioned, she would belittle me, saying men prefer petite and cute girls, and someone as tall as me is like a giant. Feeling belittled, I unhappily retorted.
Sis, I'm just being honest. Don't overthink it.
I want to buy a dress.
Haha, but sis, your skin isn't fair at all. I'm afraid it won't look as good on you as it does on the model.
I looked at my sun-kissed tan from a beach trip, speechless.
I bought snacks to eat at home.
Sis, I'm not saying this to be mean, but you really can't gain weight. You need to maintain your figure. Otherwise, being tall and bulky would make you look like a pillar.
I looked at my abs from working out at the gym. After she finished her college entrance exams, I told her I really disliked her deliberate belittling, stopped sharing things with her, and even stopped giving her extra pocket money and ceased the sponsorship. She became anxious instead, eagerly approaching me.
Sis, how can you understand it like that? I really didn't mean it, I said those things because I consider you a friend. Please don't stop the sponsorship, okay? If you stop, I really won't be able to continue my studies. You should know what stopping the sponsorship means to me, sis. I'm begging you.
I didn't reply to a single word. From her middle school years until now, my family has been providing her with a monthly allowance of 5,000 yuan. This amount not only covered her tuition and living expenses but was also enough for her entire family's living costs. Furthermore, she has already turned 18, and I believe I have done my best. From now on, she can use the money she has saved to continue her studies, find a job, or apply for scholarships and financial aid. Who would have thought that not only did she fail to get into college, but she also moved into my house without hesitation?
Auntie, I didn't get into college, and now I have nowhere to go.
As soon as her results came out, she immediately informed my mom and then showed up at our house with her luggage without even notifying us. She was the girl my mom chose to support, so she kept in touch with my mom regularly. When we first started supporting her, her grades were quite good, and she even told my mom that she wanted to come to the capital to find us in the future. In her second year of high school, she even took the initiative to acknowledge my mom as her godmother, saying that she would repay her kindness once she got into a good university. Who knew she wouldn't even get into a private college? But my mom didn't mind and didn't dampen her spirits, allowing her to stay in our guest room. Since she was quite petite, my mom gave her some of my old clothes to wear and planned to take her shopping for new ones once she settled in. On her first day here, my mom called me and asked me to come home early.
Hey sis, you're back.
Emily, wearing my clothes, lazily leaned on the sofa without even standing up.
Oh, my darling is back.
My mom hugged me tightly, and as I leaned on her shoulder, I saw Emily staring at me with deep resentment in her eyes. Emily mumbled a few words and went upstairs, and my mom sighed.
This child might not understand social etiquette. She's still young, don't blame her.
I remained silent and nodded. So she continued to stay at our house until now. In front of my mom, she always looked at me timidly, barely daring to breathe. But when my mom wasn't around, she couldn't be bothered to acknowledge me. Today, she even tried to sell me a blatantly fake bag, hoping I'd fall for it. I chuckled coldly. It was time for my mom to see her true colors. During dinner, my mom kept putting food on my plate.
Sophia, eat more vegetables. Then she cautiously brought up, does your company need more people? Can you arrange a job for Emily?
I glanced in Emily's direction, and she looked at me with hopeful eyes.
Our company requires at least a master's degree from a top university.
Although I'm 4 years older than Emily, I started school early and completed my master's and PhD at Cambridge, so I had already graduated with a doctorate. Not to mention the hard work I put in traveling back and forth for the company during my PhD, Emily seemed very displeased. She angrily shoveled a few mouthfuls of food into her mouth, then slammed her bowl on the table.
Auntie, I'm full. I'll head upstairs first.
My mom didn't mind and instead spoke to me earnestly.
Sophia, you've never had to endure hardships since you were young. Emily has had a tough life. She said her parents neglected her after having a younger brother, and she has nowhere to go. So I let her stay here. See if you can arrange an internship for her. She's quite pitiful.
Looking at my mom's concerned face, I thought that if I brought up the fake Hermes bag now, my mom would just think Emily didn't know better and wasn't doing it on purpose. If Emily cried a bit, my mom would definitely be swayed. I thought for a moment.
All right, she can come to the company as an assistant. I paused. But I won't give her any special treatment. If she's willing to work hard, that's great. If not, don't blame me for being harsh and firing her.
Emily attributed her entry into my company with just a high school diploma entirely to my mom. I even overheard her expressing her gratitude to my mom when she told her about it. After my mom left, Emily immediately changed her tone.
It's just charity. You rich people are just lucky to be born into wealth. What else do you have over me?
She then proudly called her friends to brag.
Let me tell you, do you know the Jinyu group? They say you need a master's degree from a top university to get in. My godmother got me in with just one word. What's the use of studying so much? In today's society, everything relies on connections. I bet Sophia also got into the company through connections. She's my godmother's biological daughter, so her position must be much higher than mine. These rich people are just lucky to be born into wealth.
I stood at the door with my arms crossed. It seemed she didn't realize that the largest shareholder of Jinyu Group was me. I was curious how someone with just a high school diploma and such a rude mouth concluded that I was nothing but wealthy. The next day, I arranged for her to start working at the company. After staying at my house for a month, she looked much better. Her skin had become fairer, she had grown taller, and overall, she seemed healthier. She was wearing a Chanel suit my mom had bought for her and carrying a Hermes Birkin bag. I took a closer look and realized it was the same one she had given me before, except the one she had me pay for was a fake, while this one was genuine. Could this also have been bought by my mom? It didn't make sense. If I had mentioned liking it, my mom would have given it to me first if it had arrived. I thought of the seemingly authentic receipt from last time, and my expression turned cold. After she sat down, she started chatting with her colleagues.
Hey! Isn't my bag pretty? Haha, I bought it myself, and it wasn't expensive, just a few $100,000. My godmother is the chairwoman of this company. She arranged this job for me. She's really good to me, like a real daughter. By the way, do you know what position Sophia holds?
The colleague, who was forced into a conversation, didn't have time to answer before Emily's attention was caught by Michael walking in.
Wow, who is that?
Emily watched Michael in awe as he walked into my office in a suit, holding some documents.
That's Mr. Lee, our company's second largest shareholder. He's young and capable, and I heard he studied at Stanford for his bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. He's also very handsome and was sent to the U.S. by the chairwoman to handle a big project this month.
Emily took a cup of coffee and walked into my office.
Sophia, your desk is quite close to mine. We can have lunch together from now on.
Michael was talking to me and looked up at Emily when he heard her.
And who might you be?
Oh, hello, I'm the general manager of this company and Sophia's boyfriend.
Emily's excited expression dimmed instantly at the word boyfriend. I found it particularly amusing. Did she come to work just to find a well-off man? And why did she think that if I weren't Michael's girlfriend, he would like her?
Oh.
Michael couldn't help but speak up.
Hello, if you don't have any business here, could you please leave? Sophia and I have important matters to discuss.
Emily's face turned pale, and she bit her lip before running out. As soon as Emily left, Michael eagerly hugged me.
Baby, I missed you so much. We haven't seen each other in a long time.
Michael, who appeared cold and serious, actually loved to be affectionate with me in private.
Baby, you can't have lunch with her. You promised to spend all your time with me when I got back and to make our relationship official.
Most of the employees, especially the senior executives who had been with us from the beginning, knew we were a couple. Even the company's name was derived from our names. Who wouldn't see that? Michael wanted me to announce our relationship on social media, and I promised him I would once he completed the project in the US.
All right, I'll post it.
Only then did Michael nod in satisfaction. He held my hand and looked at Emily's resume on the desk.
Baby, why did you hire someone like her? To be honest, she doesn't seem to match our company's standards.
Michael picked up Emily's resume.
And I heard her saying the chairwoman is her godmother when I came in. How come I didn't know my baby had such a significant goddaughter?
She thinks my mom is the chairwoman. She's my mom's goddaughter and the girl we used to sponsor.
Michael was the only one who knew about the girl we sponsored who constantly belittled me. He frowned.
That girl, I remember. I don't like her. She used to make you unhappy. Why did you let her come here?
It's okay. She'll show her true colors in less than a month and won't last long.
I didn't go home with Emily but went on a date with Michael after working late. When Michael dropped me off, Emily, who usually lounged on the sofa, jumped up instantly.
Michael, did you bring Sophia back?
Michael nodded slightly and hugged me before leaving. Emily's eyes followed Michael until he was out of sight.
Sis, why doesn't he spend more time with you? He doesn't seem to care about you at all.
We just spent a lot of time together outside. It's late, and I'm going to bed.
Hey, sis, are you and Michael engaged?
What does that have to do with you?
I'm just worried you might get deceived. Michael has such good qualities, there must be many women around him. Sis, you should break up with Michael soon. I don't think he's a man an ordinary woman can handle.
She looked me up and down as she spoke. I almost laughed out loud. I nearly said, if I'm not worthy, do you think you are? I really didn't mean it. I said those things because I consider you a friend. Emily pleaded with a desperate tone.
Please don't stop the sponsorship, okay? If you stop, I really won't be able to continue my studies. You should know what stopping the sponsorship means to me, sis. I'm begging you.
I didn't reply to a single word. Sophia's pleas fell on deaf ears as she stood there, hoping for a response.
I really didn't mean it, Emily. I said those things because I consider you a friend. Please don't stop the sponsorship, okay? If you stop, I really won't be able to continue my studies. You should know what stopping the sponsorship means to me, sis. I'm begging you.
Emily remained silent, not offering a single word in response.
Uncle, you don't know because you weren't home, but Sophia's yellow card has been circulating in our company. I even saw her today being very close with a man. You shouldn't spoil her too much.
My dad's gentle expression towards me changed.
Who are you?
I'm Emily, Uncle, the girl you have been sponsoring.
Oh, so you know you're just a girl we've been sponsoring. Then please recognize your place. Our family matters don't need outsiders interfering.
Emily didn't expect my dad to say that, and her face turned pale.
And since you found a job, please move out tomorrow. This is our home, not a hotel for you to stay in.
She was stunned and wanted to say something to make amends, but my parents were already pulling me towards my room, and she followed us closely.
Dad, I found out who the person in the video is. I'll send you the evidence later, and you can hand it over to the lawyer. Mom, don't worry. The truth will always come to light, and the person who did wrong will be punished.
Emily shivered at my words. It was the weekend, so I stayed home with my parents, and the only eyesore, Emily, was ordered to move out by my dad. She looked pitifully at my mom, hoping she would plead for her, but my dad had already convinced my mom, so it was useless. I relaxed at home for 2 days, and on Monday, I got dressed for work. Unexpectedly, the entrance of the company was crowded with reporters. As soon as I appeared, dozens of microphones were thrust in my face.
Are you Miss Sophia? It's said that you engage in inappropriate side jobs, have a chaotic personal life, and videos of you with different men have surfaced. What do you have to say about this?
Are you really in a relationship with Michael from Genu Group? Is that why you haven't been fired?
Did you get into the company through a man?
Emily stood nearby, looking smug. I saw Michael's car approaching and felt reassured. I grabbed a microphone.
First of all, the person in those videos is not me.
The crowd erupted.
Secondly, I didn't need Michael to get into the company because I own this company. I'm the chairman of Genu Group. You can verify it yourself.
I took out my business card from my pocket and handed it to the nearest media person. The noise grew louder, and I saw Emily and some colleagues who had been watching the drama change their expressions.
Lastly, the person in the video is Emily. She used AI to alter my image and mass-produce those cards.
I pulled Emily in front of the camera.
You're lying. Do you have any evidence?
Of course. Loud, Michael.
Michael walked towards me, pushing through the reporters, and held me in his arms, raising a file high.
The evidence is here.
He took out high-resolution screenshots from the video, each clearly showing Emily.
I've already submitted the video to the police. The witness, Daniel, is also at the police station. If you continue to ask offensive questions, I won't hesitate to call the police and have you all arrested.
The reporters turned their cameras towards Emily, and the colleagues who had been gossiping looked at her with disdain.
She even lied to us, saying she was the chairman's daughter. How could Mr. Jiang have such a shameless daughter?
I always found it strange. If she were really a rich heiress, how could she only have a high school diploma?
Daniel? Isn't he that playboy? I know him. So, those videos were made by them? How disgusting.
More and more people gathered, and the discussions grew louder. The intense stares seemed to bore a hole through Emily.
Sophia, you wretch! How can you be so lucky? Even now, Michael believes you, your parents stand by you, and you can still get away with it. You're so lucky. So lucky.
I am lucky, but getting into Peking University, applying to Cambridge for my master's and PhD, and running Junyu Group were all my own achievements. And you? With the financial support from my family that was enough to cover your living and tuition expenses, you couldn't even get into a junior college. What does that make you?
Emily's face turned uglier, seemingly unwilling to accept the truth.
Your parents already know about your actions. They're waiting for you at the police station.
Emily looked at me in horror, trying to push through the crowd to escape, but the police who had arrived caught her.
Miss Emily, you are suspected of infringing on others' reputation, portrait rights, and privacy. Please come with us.
Michael and I went to the police station to give our statements. While Michael didn't leak the video with Emily's face, Daniel recklessly posted it online. Despite it being taken down, he posted it on foreign websites, leading to the entire internet being flooded with screenshots. At the police station, I saw Emily's parents glaring resentfully at her, who was handcuffed. Their eyes showed no trace of pity or love for Emily.
Emily! Did you have anything to do with your brother's departure?
When he was sick, did you deliberately give him conflicting medications, causing his sudden demise?
Emily's mother broke down in tears, almost collapsing to the ground.
So what if it was me? I tampered with your medications too, but your son stuffed all the pills I prepared for you into his mouth before he left. I couldn't get more in time, so you survived.
Emily's parents' eyes turned red, and they could barely stand. When I first visited Emily's home, their family of 4 was happy and harmonious. Despite their poverty, her brother was adorable and sensible, and her parents were optimistic and loving. Sophia was diligent and serious. It was these qualities that attracted me, and I decided to sponsor Emily, who had trouble affording school due to financial difficulties. But I never expected that money would give rise to so many improper thoughts in her, leading her to contemplate harming her family, deceiving my mother, and wanting to replace me. The police officer beside us didn't expect Emily to confess to such serious actions so easily. They restrained the emotional Emily and took her to the interrogation room. Emily's parents were on the verge of fainting from crying. I sighed and handed them 2 tissues. Suddenly, the tide turned. The accounts that had been relentlessly attacking me online changed their tune, condemning Emily for her shamelessness, ingratitude, and maliciousness. Not only did the news of our family sponsoring her while she turned against us spread across the internet, but also the fact that she had harmed her brother to replace me. In no time, her reputation for ingratitude spread across the entire internet. My father and I had long seen through her, but my mother was still somewhat disheartened. I told my mother about all the times Emily had manipulated, belittled, and even blackmailed me. I also explained that her parents had never favored boys over girls and had always treated both children equally. It was Emily's own greed that led her to harm her brother. Although my mother was dazed after hearing this, she gradually recovered. I knew she had been protected by our family and my father for most of her life and couldn't understand why someone would bite the hand that fed them or why someone with better material conditions would still be dissatisfied and question why they weren't given more. Later, I went to see Emily in prison. Her face was calm, but she had visible injuries on her face and body, indicating she wasn't doing well in prison. "Do you regret it?" I asked her softly. She understood my question, didn't speak, and gave a barely perceptible nod, ending our conversation. Afterwards, to avoid any more rumors, I publicly announced on the company's and major social media platforms that I was the chairman of the Jinyu Group. I also revealed that Jean and Jinyu came from my name, and you came from Michael's name, and announced that we were about to get engaged. I thoroughly investigated and fired those who had gossiped, watched the drama, or taken the opportunity to kick me while I was down in the company. As for those who had slandered me online, I didn't mind the trouble and sent a lawyer's letter to each of them. I told my lawyer that if they were willing to apologize after understanding the situation, that would be best. If not, I had the time and money to take them on. After Michael and I got engaged, we often went on vacations with my parents during our free time. My desire to help children in impoverished areas didn't waver because of Emily's betrayal. I became more diligent in selecting sponsorship recipients, consulting villagers and teachers, and consistently visiting the sponsored children every year. Even though Emily had indeed betrayed my compassion and sincerity, I firmly believe that most people in the world are grateful and repay kindness. We should never blame everyone for one person's mistake. Love is the brightest star, never to be destroyed. I believe I will always maintain my trust and longing for truth, goodness, and beauty,